All right. Um, by a weird occurrence of events. Well, not really weird. I was just driving by. I'm not that mysterious. I was just driving by my high school that I just graduated. Oh, holy leak! But that's it right there. Bad angle today in a different car. Um, and I just felt a total need to document my memories about this school. Like, I know in like 10, 20, 25, 30, 40 years, right, from this point, I'm not going to be able to remember all the memories that I have of that school. So I want to, say some highlights and maybe say some like lowlights and stuff, and just, have a little archive and collection of just things that happened that I want to remember. So I guess I'll try chronological order. Oh geez, car's yelling at me because I'm not driving or not looking. Freshman year, I remember orientation. Met like the friends that I'd have for the next 4 years, and one of them was screaming "uppies, uppies, uppies," and we picked him up to get like some like thing like we had to find, and it was like on top of a shelf. And I remember that was fun. That was in a science room. I remember the first day in the first class that I had. It was in a small little room. It was Marine Studies 1. And that same room is the room that I presented my senior final like capstone, which was pretty poetic. That was nice. I want to get at least one memory per room. One of the science rooms, we did like paper cup darts or something like that, where we had like a string and we had to like string it along. This was freshman year. We had to string along with like a ball in it and try and like drop it right on the target. That was cool. Oh man, we had an amazing biology teacher. She was an absolutely amazing teacher. One of my favorite teachers I've ever had in like the whole history of education. And she's a biology teacher, so we were talking about like reproduction. And I remember she taught us why the male penis has like a head. that was a day in class. In that class we had like a senior, because a senior like didn't have the bio credit yet, so he had to do that class. That was fun to have him in there. Remember we had a project, a biosphere project that me and my friends tried hard, super hard on it, and we got like a super good grade. That was fun. Not so fun stuff. I called a girl fat, and that led to a saga of her hating me for a while. That was not so fun. That was an interesting time. Then I had integrated science in there, same room. And then the next room I had chemistry, both regular chem and AP Chem. Those were some happy, fun memories, right? They were fun, like the labs and stuff were fun, but overall vibe of those classes was not that fun, to be honest. Specific memory. Wow, I might get one from that room. Specific memory was, it was AP Chem from our chemistry room, and one of these guys has perfect pitch, and we were testing his perfect pitch. That was fun. That was fun, for sure. Next room down, next to that room is another science wing. I never had a class. Actually, I did have a class in there. I had Spanish 2, and me and my friend were cheating on a partner test super hard, man. Coming from the valedictorian, we were cheating our asses off with like Google or Google Translate. Remember the teacher's like, y'all better not be cheating. We were like, Senora, don't worry. That was fun. That was a funny moment. Oh man. Down the hall I had Marine Studies 3, or Marine Science, like EC Marine Science. That was fun times in that class. I'm specifically remembering singing "Stand By Me" with my friend who sat at the front. We sat at the front in that class the whole year, and we sang "Stand By Me" a few times. I'm remembering that that's like just the first memory that comes to mind. But yeah, I just want to collect all these memories because who knows? 20 years from now, I don't know if I'll remember singing "Stand by Me." Like that, we'll see. Oh man, I had horticulture in that same room, which so many memories from that class. One that comes to mind is with that same friend shaming another person for having a body boyfriend. That was a fun memory. That was funny. That was fun. Also playing this game called Tapple in that class. Playing Clue, and I think Marine Studies, EC Marine Science, not Marine Studies, and where that same friend that I'm talking about, always saying "Stand by Me," guessed the person and the weapon and the room with like no info, and that was pretty fun. That was a fun little moment. I remember, and then we had we had an aqua lab in the next room over. I never took a class in there, but I definitely have memories. I remember freshman year dissecting a fish. That's pretty neat. We dissected like a squid too. Like that was something we did. I remember I got my yearbook signed in there. We did prom arrangements, flower arrangements in there, in the Aqua Lab. Yeah. And I remember, I think in the next room over, there's like a storage room and also like some back end stuff. Don't ask me, I never took a class, but like there's some like aquarium stuff. And there's like a little tree house, they call it. It's like a little elevated like grate platform. That area we were searching one day, like one of my friends, we were searching for something, I think cornhole. We didn't find it, but that was one memory from there. I remember that hallway bathroom. A memory that comes to mind is finding a suspicious white substance in the sink. And me and another person were like, how the hell did either someone was hidden a sink goon and they were like rolling the dice if someone walks in, or they were in the stall and they fucking pre-fired that shit into the sink, which both are very impressive. I mean, kudos to that person. Good shot. Good aim. I think that's the whole bottom. Or no, I still have the lunchroom. Obvious big memory. The fight. There was a big brawl sophomore year from people in my class. One black queen beat the fuck out of this one racist person. And matter of fact, I don't care if their name is like Lotus Vayani. She was like hella racist. And yeah, that happened. And she got her face broken in the Great Hall. I also got married in the Great Hall. That's something that I did in a skit for the talent show. I dressed up as Donnie in there. A lot of big memories in the Great Hall. NHS induction was there. I don't know if that's not really a big memory, but it's memory nonetheless. Second fight, which was the same day, also a fight over race. There was a big brawl. People were like choking people out and shit. It was crazy. I got first-hand tickets to both of those fights. That was pretty tough. I'm also like into videos. You just like aura farming in the back. What else? I also got I remember this one time, niche area where I had a nice little memory was the lunchroom and like the lunch storage room. There was a lockdown and it was lunchtime for me, so I had to hide back there for like a solid felt like 35 minutes. Everybody was back there, and like everyone in my lunch, and everyone was just like trolling and shit. I remember there was like old Diet Coke cans that people like found and opened up or something. I mean, I don't think they opened them up, but they found some like old Diet Coke cans. That was interesting, fun little memory. Well, I mean, not fun, because like we also for a minute thought we might like die or some shit. But small engine room is what we call it. Had computer science in there. W memories from that class. I remember just chilling with my friends, coding and shit. Man, it's really hitting me. Like, I'm not gonna go back. Like, I just went back there. I got out my car a little bit because there's like some buckets on the ground. I put them away because I was like, one final good deed for this school. But damn, like, I'm not going back. Like, I'm just like, damn. yeah, and I mean, in the engine room, I also had like 1 year of advisory. My senior year advisory was in there. And then the simulator lab. I remember doing simulations on those sims where like Mr. L, our goated Marine Science 2 teacher, would like make us navigate to the areas and shit. Like that was cool. Pretend to be on a boat. I had advisory in there, so I remember one of my friends with like a giant sumo suit on for like Halloween, and that was pretty fun. That's pretty fun. I also remember not so good memories. I remember playing Pictionary freshman year, in which someone erased the board and I said white supremacy, and I got yelled at for that one. Freshman year Malik, shout out to him. And then you go up the stairs in that stairwell. I remember filming scenes for a ECE World Maritime History project where we had to like make a video. That was cool. Then upstairs I had a class in this big, we call it like the kind of fishbowl area, and it like looks out into the sim room. It's pretty cool. And I remember a couple big memories. I remember I had English in that class, English 1 with the GOAT, Mr. Jones, goated teacher, in which I said, there's a lot of iconic moments from that class. One of such moment was me saying, "Don't worry, Mr. Jones, when I become a billionaire, I'll slide you a milli." And then he low-key crashed out on me. I also remember saying, he took my phone, because I had my phone like out, and he took my phone, put it at the top, and he's like, "Man, your Snapchat is just blowing up." At the end, it was like near the end of the class when he was handing it back to me, and I was like, "Yeah, Mr. Jones, that's just because the hoes be snapping me." And then he yelled at me and made me apologize to all the women for the derogatory language. That was fun. That was a fun moment. Also called home to my mom with that one. Had to explain to my mom what a hoe was. So, nice. And then I also got kicked out of that class because it was like boring, and we were reviewing stuff like homework that was super late. Like I had already done it like a few classes before. We're like reviewing some shit that I had already done. I was making it very obvious that I didn't want to be there. And then Mr. Jones was like, "If you don't want to be here, leave." And I was like, "All right, fine." I like dipped, and he was like, "Okay, stay out there." And I was like, "Okay." And he kicked me out a little bit. I remember also getting really mad and like low-key crashing out a little bit, very slightly. Like I just like kind of got angry in like the midterm for that class. Remember that. I remember talking about like the Telltale Heart. It was a great goated class, man. Hella memories from that class. Then we had the Shark Den. I remember playing FIFA in there. Lunches senior year up there were fun. Yeah, just chilling up there. Playing FIFA mobile against my boy Chap. That was nice. Bathroom. Boys' bathroom right next to the room with this English room. Or it wasn't really an English room. It was actually a math room. I had math class in there next sophomore year. I had pre-calculus there. That was fun. That was a fun time. Then I had, math class. Then that room after sophomore year became a like a learning lounge or some shit. I don't even know. But yeah, then that bathroom. This one time I broke up a fight between like two underclassmen, and I was like, I was like Coach Carter to them, bro. Like I dropped some hella good wisdom. I was like, "Fuck y'all doing, man? Like y'all out here just fucking around. Like this motherfucker's bleeding right now because y'all are fighting. Like I was like, fuck are y'all doing? Like I didn't tattle on them or anything like that because like, snitches get stitches. But I was like, fuck y'all doing? Like I don't know. Maybe I at least planted the seeds for some change. I also. It was a good bathroom. Yeah, it was a fire bathroom. Then we have this like bridge area that overlooks like the Great Hall. I remember, goated memory. We had this wellness fair every year, and one of the groups brought in like a racing sim, and like did drunk driving. And one of the teachers, God bless his heart, he's a little older, like he's like half retired or whatever, and he's like, it's like Forza, right? Like they just had Forza on there. And he's like driving down a single lane road, no drunk goggles on, going like 15 miles an hour in Forza, and is like, "Am I on the wrong side of the road?" Died laughing, bro. Like he's going 15 miles an hour, no drunk goggles on, and it's a 1-lane road, and it's like, Yes, Dr. Fritz, you're on the right side of the road. There's only one side. That was a great time. That was fun. Um, I remember the seniors, like when I was a junior, the seniors got like really in a bunch of trouble because I had a big party up there. Like they ordered in food and shit. I remember seeing that. That was pretty fun, or it looked like fun. I wasn't part of it because it was like their senior thing. Um, Man, and like we have this whole like library, which is like little bits of books and stuff along this hallway, and I remember playing a bunch of FIFA Mobile there, like sophomore year during the World Cup, and same with that bridge area and the library. When the World Cup was happening fall of my sophomore year, we had like a big TV out there, and everyone was watching it, and we watched the Ochoa save against Lewandowski's penalty, and that was fucking insane, bro. Like everyone was getting so hyped with the World Cup, like everyone was like getting hella hype, like I don't know, it was very very good times. And then there's like this small little classroom. I didn't really have any classes in there, but I remember one teacher like telling me about like racism or something in there. I don't know. She was like a weird teacher. She was like the Spanish teacher that left after a couple of years because like she was like kind of a little bit buns at teaching. Um, then like there's another room that's like a social studies room in which I had algebra 2 my freshman year. I remember banging my head open and like it started bleeding. I had to go to the nurse's office my freshman year. So I banged my head open. On my binder by accident. That was a good time. That was a good time. Oh man, hella memories, bro. And then I had a push outside on this like round table for a while. That was really fun. God, do I have any memories from that? Oh, I remember one memory. One of this girl that I really didn't like was like low-key getting harassed / bullied by these two other girls that were fun, like low-key funny. So like they were like basically trolling her like crazy, and it was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. I fuck with that. Yeah, and then the classroom next to that AP Stats class was where I had English 1 or English 2, AP Language, and then ECE Composition all in a row with the same teacher. Absolute fire class. And I had AP Art History in that classroom. Remember like sculpting. I made like a sculpture. It's pretty neat. Hopefully it's still there. Gosh. I remember like playing like a religion game. We had to like make games about religion. And shout out that teacher. Um, that was fun. That was fun. I messed with that. I messed with that. Um, Man, even now, like it's hard for me to like pick out individual memories, but I think it's it's always hard. Like I feel like memories will come if they're triggered, but some of them are just lost. Like the days just mend together, right? Like they just blend together so fast, and you're just like in the moment you don't know they're going, but they are. Like they definitely are just like bleeding away. And is my face like asymmetrical, bro? But like, you know, the days are going by so fast, man. And it's such a cliche, like, if you don't stop and look around every once in a while, you might just miss it. Like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or whatever. But it's kind of true. Like, I'm sitting here a few weeks removed from my high school experience. And sure, like, some of these memories I'm trying to think of are, like, years old. But still, like, you'd think I'd have some better, like, grasp on them. And I don't. They're so far removed from me. And it's kind of crazy. Just it's just crazy, man. It's just it's scary. Like cuz for the last 4 years like it's been my whole life. And when I'm 80, hopefully, and like talking to my grandkids or great grandkids or whatever, will I be able to tell them? Will I be able to say, I remember once in high school when, you know, so and so got like beat up or something like that. Like, I hope I remember that. I hope I remember all of my memories. I don't want them to slip away. And it's such a scary thought thinking that one day these characters who have been, insurmountable in the story of my life. Maybe that's a good use of vocab. But these people that have been just integral parts of my life, like just this building, right? The community, the teachers, the staff, right? And it's impossible for me to imagine one day where they aren't. Well, not it's not impossible. I have to, but it's hard for me to envision a life where they have no role in it, right? Like the staff, the people, the environment, and yet in my lived reality right now, I don't have like the staff, the people, the community anymore, and it's kind of scary because stepping off into my own new world that I have to build from the start, and yet but I also like it's a challenge. It's fine. I'm gonna be fine. But I don't want to lose what was special about my high school experience. Like, just reflecting back, like I can do that. I had a good high school experience, and obviously I'm not saying I'm gonna like peak in high school, although everybody's lives have to peak. So I don't find it very, um, I don't find it at all surprising that peaking in high school is common, or like is the thing that happens, or like if people don't peak in high school, if not high school, then it's probably college. Like if you think about it, people just peak in college because it's the 4 years where you have free will to do anything. You're young enough and naive enough to do stupid stuff, so you have good stories, and you're also young and naive enough to not have that many responsibilities. So they end up being like the years where they're like the good old days, right? No responsibility, your prefrontal cortex ain't developed, so you're just doing dumb shit all the time, like, and you're finally away from your parents. You have like a open canvas. Of course, you're gonna splatter some paint everywhere, and I find it unsurprising that people peak there, and that's fine. Like, not everyone is gonna change the world. Not everybody is gonna, you know, not everyone is gonna have a day like each day build on the last, and each day is gonna be better and a happier day or something like that. And that's a farce to find yourself in. Like that's not something you want to think that every day has to be better than the last. Like that's not true. Like you're gonna have bad days after good days, and you're gonna have great days after bad days. But what is important is that, or what I'm really getting at is that some people will make that a priority to continue building, like building a legacy or building something greater than themselves every single day, week in, week out, year in, year out. And other people are just going to live complacent lives, and that's fine. Like that's completely fine. To each their own, really. To some extent, if you're happy, if you genuinely are like content with your life and you're okay with how things are, who am I to say, go out there and change the fucking world, man? What are you doing? Or like, who is there to anyone to say that? Like, if you're really content with your life, you're not unhappy, like you work a decent job and you make decent money, you live in a decent house and you drive a decent car, you got a nice family, like why would you even dream of like doing something else? But then maybe you'll find that the glory days of your life were maybe high school or college. And I don't know. I didn't really affect on my college days. I had a good or high school days. I had a good high school experience. I mean, I was smart at high school. Doesn't mean I'm really smart in the real world. Stay humble. Um, I had friends. I didn't ever like have to like sit alone in a class, ever. Yeah, I don't think anyone could say that, but it's just because it's a small school, so odds are you're gonna have a friend in a class, and I was like decently popular, so I had friends. Um, so that was never an issue. Always had someone to sit with at lunch. Um, just I just had fun. I like really when I think about high school, all the good, the bad, the ugly. The calling girls fat, the fucking getting kicked out of class, the you know not being like obviously I had bad days, of course, just like the next guy. But I really like overwhelmingly the emotion I get when I think of my high school experience it's just happiness, man. Like I had a happy time. I had a fun time. I had a jolly time, if you will, just fucking around, just like la di da di da. Um, so I can't. So I'm not gonna sit here and be like, man, my high school experience was horrible. But I'm also not gonna say like that was the best of my life. Like if high school was the peak of my life, then man, I'm in for a rough ride here. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'd say just, stay present because you won't remember. You really won't. Like, unless you got like an eidetic memory or some shit, you won't remember what you were doing on some random Thursday in 2022 during frickin' like January. Like, fuck do I know? Like, I was probably doing some, what? It's probably like in freshman year? No? Right? Yeah, I was probably like in freshman year doing some Telltale Heart shit. I don't know. Yeah. Last couple memories I got. I remember geometry room. I got made fun of by my teacher for being obese and being alone. Fire. I remember getting punched in my throat or karate chopped in my throat by a student in my Spanish class. That was pretty good. I remember losing the election to be the treasury of NHS in one room, in the English room next to the math room, which is then next to this other room. There really are no rooms in my school. Like, math room could have an English class, science room can have a Spanish class, Spanish room could have a math room or math class. So it's not really relative at all. Except for the labs, like the lab based classes, those usually are in the labs. Any other memories that stick out to me? I don't know. I don't think so. Which is, again, sad. Like, obviously, like, I have more. Like, I'm thinking lip dub days. Like, those are things. Like, my friends made a poster of Malik for valedictorian. That's true. Boom, getting valedictorian. That's a memory. That was a little bit surreal, a little bit bittersweet. But it's cool. I remember suiting up to be Donnie. That was interesting. One of my friends had to, like, basically watch me, like, put on a thong. It was kind of weird. I don't know. Yep. Put on a mascot. It was super hot, too. Very, very hot in that costume. Remember that. I remember playing Smashy Road freshman year in the garage because we had to be outside in, like, the bitter cold for some reason because of COVID. I remember that was a time playing Smashy Road. That was fun. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't have any more, like, significant memories. I don't really have anything else to say. I just, you know, I don't know if I'll post this or not, but like, comment, and subscribe if I do post it. But yeah, like, obviously not everyone has the same experience as me, and some people had bad experiences, and that's okay as well. But I'd say even the bad, like, like I said, like getting kicked out of class and calling someone fat, and you know, I remember, I called someone fat because I was projecting myself, like I was insecure about my chubbiness. I remember freshman year, my teacher made me get up in front of the whole class and basically had like affirmed that I wasn't fat. What a time. W teacher. That was my bio teacher. Love her. She was an absolutely angel of a teacher. I remember dancing for extra credit in that class as well. Fire class. Am I asymmetrical? I think it's the lighting, Rex, because this is dark lighting. This is like light. Yeah, that's why. Shirley. Don't call me Shirley. I don't know. All right. I don't really have anything else to say. Yeah. Peace out. Like, comment, and subscribe.